Here we were in the early stages of a pandemic, something that none of us had ever experienced in our collective lifetime. I knew we'd be back on our feet at some point, but in the interim, I still wanted to speak to audiences, but particularly to assistant principals. Knowing that my social media platform was large and was closely associated with my work, on the first Saturday in May 2020, I launched the virtual AP Leadership Academy. The intent was 18 weeks only, but as many of you know, we are years in with no ending in sight. We are now the AP and New Principals Academy, as many of the assistant principals from the original virtual AP Leadership Academy became principals. If you're new to the platform, welcome. If you're a leadership veteran, this platform continues to be relevant for veterans in principal leadership, assistant principal leadership, and aspiring school leaders. With that said, it's time for today's session. We're going to do that again because my mic was off. And we are live. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to week 317 consecutively of the AP and New Principals Academy. Let me see who we got checking in this morning. We have Mrs. Yolanda McKinney in Texas, Constance Sherrod in Pearl, Mississippi, AP Patrick Lawrence in Connecticut, Grace Castaneda is in Ruston, Louisiana. She gets around, man. Chancellor Davidson's in Las Vegas, Nevada. Michael Benton is in Cincinnati, Ohio. Takesha High is in Virginia. Nadira Coley is in Newark, Brick City, Newark, New Jersey. We got Dr. Robin Snowden Harambe. She's in San Lorenzo, California. We got Joseph Harunu, who's in Rwanda, Africa. Appreciate you checking in all the time, Joseph. We got Lysandra Bracken in North Carolina. Stacy Joy is in Los Angeles, California, getting ready to wrap it up with that retirement. We got Rodney Richardson, Hampton, Virginia. We got Mr. Big Dad, 48. Good morning to you. Arlette Johnson is in Connecticut. Marsha Poe is in San Diego. Circling back later, watching the recording. I hear you. Go ahead and take care of what you got to do with the fam. And we'll see you on the recording. We got Dr. Melissa Jones Chunu. Good morning to you. You know, Dr. Melissa Jones Chunu. Oh man, I was going to try to tell you something. What's the name? I'm having a mental block. I'll come back to you on that. Where we at? Oh, I got it. Karen Hunter from Urban View, the Karen Hunter Show. She's supposed to be out in your town speaking. I don't know if you know anything about that, but if you listen to Urban View on 126 Sirius XM, Karen Hunter will be out there in your neck of the woods. I think it's a panel discussion. Where we at? Grace Castaneda, I see you. Dominique Lape, San Marcos, Texas. John Herricks, Denton, Texas. Where we at? Dr. Edwin Garcia, going to be on soon too. Right here in New Jersey, Passaic County, here in New Jersey. Retired Principal Dorothy McKeever Jeter is in the building. Calumet City, Illinois. Josh Tovar, MPA Jaguars, I see you. Good morning to you. That's out in Garland, Texas. LaKenya Rowland, New Jersey. I'm getting ready to shut it down, y'all. We got to go. Annette McMahon, I see you. Let's see if we can make that happen as well. I think I got everything to you that you need. David Bell, I see you. Benton Harbor, Michigan. The queen of the castle, Kimberly Broughton Kafele, is in the building. Let me see if I see any more Jersey cats on here. I see Kenyelle Session. That was a big win last night, Kenyelle. That was a big win. I don't know if you want that Madison Square Garden smoke though. You know, we different kind of fan base, Knicks, right? We different kind of fan base right here. Let me put it right here on the screen. We ain't playing. We ain't playing, right? I don't know if you want that MSG smoke. It's a little different from Oklahoma City, right? So we'll see. Somebody probably say, why are you counting out my Spurs, man? We still in. I doubt it. Right, let's go. Hey, y'all, let me I see you, Sean Hurt. I thought me and you, like you said this morning, I thought we was gonna be texting, but we ain't texting because Detroit Pistons fizzled. Hey, but let's go, y'all. Let me get it started, man. I got 3 guests only. I only see 2 of them though, so maybe we'd be 2 guests today. We'll see what happens. But hey, formally to everybody, good morning, greetings, welcome to week 317 consecutively of the AP and New Principals Academy. Let's go. Hey, I got them 2 questions every week, man. I ain't gonna stop that. Hey, and my question to you, as always, what were your wins last week, man? What were your wins? What were your wins? Why do I say that every week? Because it's easy to get consumed by our challenges, obstacles, pressures, and demands. Like just the challenges of being human beings. We can get caught up into that. So then we got to be very intentional, very deliberate, very purposeful about, wait a minute, I won some things this week. And then you figure out you won at a lot of things this week that you took for granted because you're so accustomed to winning. So I'm saying to you, always stop and pause and just consider your wins. I get them days, some weeks, I'm like, oh man. And then I said, wait a minute, you winning, man. You winning. I gotta remind myself sometime, you winning, baby. Right? Because it's easy to forget that you winning. All y'all winning, man. Just by the fact that you got these leadership jobs, you winning. You may not necessarily be satisfied to the utmost that you're in there, but you have the wherewithal to shift your reality. Man, I'm turning my question into a whole monologue. Let me stop. Right? So, because that ain't my monologue this morning. Let me stop. And my other question, man, what will you do this week to elevate your game, to take your game to another level, man? What will you do? What will you do? I really feel like that should be my monologue, that first part, because I got a lot more to say about that, but that'll be for another time. I got something else I want to talk about today. But yeah, what will you do what will you do next week? Right? Because you know there's, like I ask in my rapid fire questions, there's another gear. You know that. There's another gear to your leadership. There's another gear to just your humanity, right? You nobody ever plateaus. There's always another gear. But the question, here's the question. Man, I'm monologuing on these questions, man. This is not good. I got guests. Listen. But the question is, how intentional are you about that next gear? See, like, watch, check this out, y'all. I was going to use the example of standard admission, transmission, but some of y'all might not know what that is, right? Y'all, it's the young heads on here. So let me just go with the automatic transmission. So when you're driving down the street, particularly down the highway, the car is going to go automatically to the next gear because you have accelerated more. Well, I'm asking you, what's allowing you to accelerate a little more so that you can go into your next gear, right? I thank God, Dr. Hussein, I see you back there. You had me nervous. I see you. And I'll bring you up soon, right? So keep that in mind, y'all. Keep that in mind. Stay focused on your wins and stay focused on your next win. Like, see, here, let me get it to you like this, man. I don't know what's in me this morning. See next week's wins before next week gets here. See next week's wins before next week arrives. You got that's called vision. That's called anticipation. But here's the big word. That's called expectancy. See, that's called expectation. So you got to see that. But it's these obstacles, it's these challenges, it's these roadblocks, right? It's these stop signs. Yo, look at anybody who's winning. Ask them what they did with the stop signs and the obstacles and the pitfalls and the potholes and all that kind of stuff. They said, I'm going through that, man. dead ends. I'm going through that. Enough said, y'all. That ain't even my monologue. Hey, man, I ain't traveled this week. I got nobody's shout out, man. I'm living my best life, baby. It's y'all young. I'm probably the oldest one on this platform every week. And I put it, I paid my dues. I put in the work. I'm still working. Don't get me wrong. I'm just being on here doing like 9 pages of notes during the week. That's work. I don't get up and come down here and wing it. Right. So, but it's something about, when you could just come down and sit on the couch and that's your place for the rest of the day. Maybe you go outside and do a few laps, that type of thing, or to the gym, but your day is pretty much sitting in that chair, just chilling. See, you got to work for that though. That don't just fall in your lap. You got to work for that. So that now, like, your money's right? So I ain't got to work. Not me. I'm talking just generically now. Your money's right. You ain't got to be thinking about that. You're going to be worrying about that. I'm just going to chill, but I'm still working. I'm still on these speaker streets because in June, y'all going to see the post again. I'm headed here. I'm headed there. I ain't going to be home, man. June, July. Oh, my God. August. Oh, my God. But right now it's May, and I'm still having a good time. Let's go, y'all. Welcome to the first timers. But if this is in fact your first time, it means you've missed 316 sessions. So you got a lot of work to do. A lot of catching up to do. You missed 316 consecutively, but here's how you can see them. Go to the YouTube channel, AP New Principals Academy. AP and New Principals Academy on YouTube. Click the subscribe button, then click the notification bell, which will appear after you hit the subscribe button. And that way you can watch them all. And also it just helps the channel, right? We got 25,200 some odd subscribers. Let's bring it up to 25,300. So just hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Hopefully all of you are watching on YouTube and Facebook. In fact, that is the case, because if you are on LinkedIn and Twitter, you can't see us on those platforms no more because I got rid of them, right? So for the platform, I'm still on them, but I don't use them too much, right? But Facebook and YouTube is what we're doing exclusively. I got a big announcement coming on June 6th, which is my next solo Saturday. So just stay tuned for that big announcement. I'm going to wait till June 6th to announce it during my announcements, and then I'll be announcing it all summer as we transition into the fall. So be on the lookout. 2 books that support this channel: What is My Value Instructionally to the Teachers I Supervise, and The Assistant Principal 50, right? So if you don't have either one, please get them, right? You can go to Amazon or you can go to ascd.org. That's your choice. But get yourself a copy of both. They support this channel, this platform. Real quick, these 4 conferences, real quick. It's the ASCD conference. I'll be doing a pre-conference on June 28th and then a session on June 29th. Then I got a lot of other stuff going. They're giving me this big award. I'll talk to you about that later on. And if you're going to be there, maybe you can even stop by and check that out too. But I'll give you more information on that later. That's June 28, 29. Go to ascd.org if you want to come down to Orlando and be a part of the conference. School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele, July 9 and 10 in Savannah, Georgia. That's my institute. So that's just me solo, 2 days, 9 to 4, both days. We talking leadership, specifically instructional leadership. So come on down and be a part of that. NAESP conference, July 13 through 15. I'll be doing 2 sessions on the 14th. That's also in Orlando. And then the Southern Regional Educational Board, SREB, I'll be doing 2 sessions there as well, a featured and a regular, July 15 in Nashville, Tennessee at the Gaylord Opryland. So I'd love to see you at least one of those, if not all 4. Go to sreb.org or naesp.org. Or for the School Leadership Institute, go to principalkafele.com, scroll down on the homepage and you'll see the link. And for ASCD, you can go to ascd.org. Enough said. Let me go to my monologue. My monologue topic is, what's your school's mission and who knows it beyond you? Right? And let me read it to you again. What's your school's mission and in capital letters, and who knows it beyond you? That's the critical part. That second part, who knows it beyond you? Because see, as a leader, we could be very much knowledgeable of the mission of our school, But it's not good enough if just the leadership or the leadership team knows the mission. Everybody that breathes air has got to know the mission. So when I say that, I mean not just the obvious people, meaning students and staff, but the secretaries, the clerks, the custodians, the security, the child study team, the librarian, the nurse, right? And on, the technology person, all them folks, so we are of one mind as it relates to the mission of the school, right? So, but what is the mission? Well, there's a lot of definitions, and I've said this on this platform before, and I've said it certainly in person, probably every time I'm out. There's just a multiplicity of definitions of mission, what that means. But I gave it my own definition, had the audacity, even wrote it in a book or two. I said the mission is simply who you are and what you're about. Again, who you are as a school and what you're about as an individual. And when you have your personal mission, who you are and what you're about as a school, who you are and what you're about as an organization, who you are and what you're about as a district, who you are and what you're about. Mission. But then when you invert it, who you are and what you're about, it becomes, and you have no mission, or it's written but no one knows it, then it becomes who you are and what you're about. You ain't nobody and you ain't about nothing. Right? And I know that stings a little, but it's supposed to. You ain't nobody and you ain't about nothing. So now let's go back to the topic. What's your school's mission and who knows it beyond you? If you're the leader and you're the only one that knows the mission, then number one, the staff probably didn't participate in its development. Number two, it's really not your mission because no one knows it. It's just some compliance document to show your superior, oh, we have a mission statement. No. It's not just having a mission statement, it is walking in the mission. It is living the mission. It is embodying the mission. But there is no mission if only you know it. It is no mission if the best you can do is paraphrase it. You got to know that thing verbatim, but so does your school. How does an entire school learn a mission? Well, you prioritize it. You intentionally prioritize it, and it is announced, it is read by students during your morning announcements literally every day, as if it was the flag salute and whatever other anthems and whatever you do in your school. It becomes a staple in your morning announcements that we do nothing without articulating, reciting the mission of our school, so that ultimately it's not you or a small cluster of people who know the mission, but it is all of us who not only know the mission, but are living the mission, who are walking the mission and doing what the mission says we are going to do. Because again, the mission speaks to who we are and what we're about. Enough said. I got guests this morning, y'all, and I'm going to get them on up here now. Let's see if my screen is right. I guess it is. Here we go. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. The back screen ain't right. Hey, y'all, how you doing? As I adjust my other part of my screen, and let me introduce you to Dr. Salma Hussein, who's now in the building. This is Tina Jenious or Jenious Flood, and
Good morning.
Dr. Queinnise Miller in the building.
Good morning.
They talking to you, Dr. Hussein.
Good morning.
Yeah, she thought she was talking to the audience. Yeah, nah, ma'am. Yeah. So glad to see you, Doc. And I hope all is well. Let's jump into it, y'all. I want to read your bios right quick, and then we'll get to it. I'm gonna start with Dr. Hussein. Dr. Salma Hussein is a proud principal of Gideon Pond Elementary in Burnville, Egan Savage School District 191 in Minnesota. A Somali American educator, licensed clinical worker, and systems focused leader. She is deeply committed to building school communities where every student, staff member, and family feels seen, valued, and supported. With experience spanning education, mental health, and leadership development. Dr. Hussein leads through a relationship-centered and restorative lens grounded in the belief that connection must come before correction. Say that again, connection must come before correction. Her work focuses on creating coherent systems that support belonging, instructional excellence, culturally responsive practices, and sustainable leadership. Dr. Hussein is passionate about empowering educators to lead with confidence, trust their timing, and remain grounded in both purpose and faith while navigating the complexities of leadership. She believes the most impactful leaders are anchored in their values, aligned in their actions, and committed to serving others with authenticity, courage, and care. She frequently speaks on topics including restorative leadership, school culture, equity-centered systems, emotional intelligence and leadership, and supporting students through trauma-informed approach. Her leadership philosophy centers humanity, accountability, and collective growth. And finally, Dr. Hussein believes schools should be caring communities where everyone belongs and where leadership is rooted in service, hope, and lasting impact. That's Dr. Salma Hussein. Good stuff.
I got my pen. I'm ready.
Dr. Queinnise Miller, affectionately known as Dr. Q, is a bilingual educator, transformational leader, international speaker, published author, consultant coach, and devoted mom. As an assistant professor of educational leadership and policy analysis at the University of Houston, Clear Lake, she brings over 25 years of experience to her work, grounded in the belief that all children deserve a world-class education and all people deserve exceptional leadership. Dr. Miller has held distinguished roles, including assistant principal, senior manager for leadership development, director of school leadership and program, director of the educational leadership and administration program at UHCL, University of Houston, Clear Lake. Across these roles, she has coached and trained thousands of leaders worldwide, championing inclusive, culturally responsive, love-led leadership. As a sought-after keynote speaker, Dr. Q has graced stages nationally and internationally, from Savannah to Athens, Greece. Through her consulting firm, Queinnise LLC, she partners with leaders across K-12 corporate and nonprofit sectors to drive transformational change. Known as the head-centered educator, Dr. Q leads with love, compassion, and human connection. Her TEDx Talk podcast and her latest book, Lead with Love, 8 Heart-Centered Strategies for Exceptional Leadership, offer powerful tools for bringing love into our work, homes, and cells. Her mantra, Lead with Love, makes her a powerful beacon of change in leadership and education. And family out there, here's the book.
Yeah.
Lead with Love, 8 Heart-Centered Strategies for Exceptional Leadership. We'll talk more about it pretty soon. Here we go. We got one more. We got Tina Jenious, or give me that New Orleans pronunciation. Jenious.
Jenious.
I said it before. Jenious. You know what happened when you go live, man. A proud native of Montclair, New Jersey, I graduated. She wrote it in first person. I love it when folks do that too. I graduated from Science High School in Newark, New Jersey, and earned my Bachelor of Arts in Sociology from Bloomfield College. I went on to obtain my P3 certification in Master of Arts in Teaching from Montclair State University, as well as a Master of Education in Educational Leadership from Walden University. With over 20 years of educational experience in urban, suburban, and inner city school districts, I've used every professional role as a platform to propel my students toward greater achievement and self-discovery. Along my journey, I've served as personnel secretary, which is where I met her, lead secretary, resource teacher, educational consultant, achievement coach, gifted and talented teacher, coordinator, teacher mentor, vanguard, data specialist, and even as volleyball and soccer coach. Each role has added another layer to the magical tapestry of my career, allowing me to lead, inspire, and empower in diverse ways. Currently, I serve as elementary school assistant principal, where I'm passionate about supporting students, families, and educators in creating meaningful opportunities for growth, achievement, and lifelong success. I'm an energetic, loving, caring, dedicated, and passionate educational leader who believes that teaching is truly a magical profession one that gives us the sacred opportunity to shape, guide, and empower the lives of children through meaningful hands-on experiences. I firmly believe that when one has passion to teach, the success of children becomes a lifetime of priceless and magical memories. My passion extends beyond academics. I believe in nurturing the whole child and building a school culture where social, emotional, and academic success flourish. I'm intentional about creating safe, engaging, and empowering learning spaces filled with energy, enthusiasm, and authentic relationships. And finally, as a leader, I'm committed to walking in integrity, honesty, and professionalism while inspiring others to rise to their fullest potential. My mission is to continue cultivating an educational environment at Emerson Community College where students, staff, and families are united as one empowered family, striving for excellence, celebrating growth, and embracing the magical journey of learning and success together. Good stuff, great stuff.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's get it rocking. Hey, to the fam out there, I got to ask you to do something for me now. Hit that share button, retweet, repost, tag somebody, text somebody. Let them know we are here. We're live. There's some leader you may know that maybe not doing anything. Hit them up, right? Or tell them to watch the recording later. But also make sure you hit that like button. That's important. That's how we activate them algorithms. We want these leaders on here to get this knowledge, not only from me, but the Fantastic Four. So that's Sean Hurd at 10 o'clock, Facebook Live. She Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor at 10:30, us at 11, and then over on Sunday, PGP Podcast, Principal Josh Tovar and Dr. Madi Moreno, right? So that's the 4 platforms. Let's go, Dr. Hussein. Let's get it rocking. You're Somali American principal leading in the Minneapolis area. Given the politics of the times, and particularly in your region, what may have made this year different for you in the context of your leadership?
Definitely. Thank you so much, Principal Kafele, for having all of us. I do want to say that I am a Somali American principal, but before that, I am a Black female principal.
Right.
And what has made this year more challenging is the metro surge that happened in Minnesota. I have lived in Minnesota for the last 30 years. I came when I was 7 years old, so Minnesota is home for me. And because of the metro surge, I have had to navigate spaces with caution. This was the first time that I left my home carrying my passport in the event that I was stopped and asked. So that was very challenging to be the lead principal who is tasked with caring for all of my community and to also care for myself. So I had to make intentional decisions, such as if there are committee work after school, I would opt to go home to take care of myself because home is where I felt safest. I'm really proud of our Minnesota community because people stepped up. I don't know if many of you have heard about Minnesota Nice, but it does have a negative connotation. But this time around, we were truly able to come together as a community and care for one another and create mutual aid and show up and advocate with and for community. So I'm really proud to be a Minnesotan and really proud of the way in which the greater community showed up for all of the communities that were impacted.
You know, I heard everything you just said, and I listened very attentively to everything you just said. And the one thing that stood out that I just want to underscore, you said for the first time in your life, you're an American. And for the first time in your life, you had to make sure that you had your passport in your possession. To the fam out there, just let that resonate for a minute, right? Just let it resonate. We're talking about an American citizen who felt compelled to carry a passport in America. I carry one to the airport, right? But that's the only place, right? It doesn't come with me any other place I go, right? But you know, that's where we are. I want to, as I was saying off camera, Dr. Hussein, I'm doing a 3-parter with each of us as we get started before we jump into some of the other topics. You know, Dr. Hussein, it's understood that grad school gives us a foundation. Grad school relative to the education and administration courses or program, it gives us a foundation in leadership, but the real learning happens on the job, right? There's so many things that we experience that has nothing to do with anything that we learned in those textbooks, those lectures, those PowerPoint presentations, whatever. But in addition to that, and this is where I'm going with it, we learn about ourselves as leaders, because anybody can be in grad school or even prior to grad school. And when I get in there, I'm going to be X, Y, and Z. And then you find out that it doesn't necessarily work that way. And then you start learning about yourself. So here's what I want to ask you. Given the circumstances of the year in Minnesota, in your case, what did you learn, if anything, about you as a leader throughout the 25-26 school year?
I love that. That's such a beautiful question. And what I learned about myself this year more than ever is that I am more than enough, that I am worthy, that I am capable. And I love what you said, Principal Kafele, about grad school will teach you technical knowledge, but that adaptive leadership requires you to not only know yourself, but to love yourself and to understand yourself. And I know you share about your YouTube channel, and I want the folks listening to know I really struggled in landing my first assistant principal job. And one of my friends, Richmond Tois, put me on Principal Kafele's work, and I started listening. And the core essence of your message is like, be you. You have to love yourself and understand yourself and show up authentically, knowing that you're also interviewing the school as well too. So more than anything, I have learned that yes, I can read professional development. And right now I'm reading this really great book by African-American sister. However, all of that is after knowing myself, understanding myself, loving myself, taking care of myself, knowing that exhaustion is not excellence, and knowing that not all movement is progress. So being really intentional about how I take up space when I show up, and also rest. That rest isn't something I need to earn, but rest is something that I deserve. And I just want to give you your flowers, Principal Kafele, for your consistency and your belief and in the way that you show up as you. And that inspires many of us, including me, to do the same.
I love it. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You know, I don't want to butcher that last piece you said, because I don't want anybody to miss it either. Rest. I'm gonna say it the way I remember it, but I'm gonna need you to probably clean it up for me. Rest is not something I need to earn. Rest is something I deserve. Did I say that right? Yeah. A fam out there on the other side of the camera, hear that one, right? Because I don't think I've ever heard that before. That's why I'm kind of stuck on it. Rest is not something I need to earn. Rest is something I deserve, is what Dr. Hussein said, right? And it goes back to what those of you who were with me in the beginning, when I was going through my announcements and so forth, I said, you know, I earned the right to sit on this couch all day. I earned that, right? Because I put in the work for 40 years of this work, right? So I earned the right to come downstairs, turn on ESPN and watch sports and sports related talk all day long while I sit on that couch with no obligation and no responsibility. I earned that, y'all. And those of you that see me sitting at all them Knicks games, you know them tickets are expensive in New York at Madison Square Garden. I earned the right to spend that money and go. but I'm making the point that you made, Dr. Hussein. I earned that rest, right? So good stuff. I got one more for you, Doc. I got one more for you. Are there any lessons, Dr. Hussein, for the fam out there regarding learning about self as leader?
Yes, learning about self as leader requires you to spend time with yourself. As human beings, we are hardwired for connection. We want to connect, and we want to connect with other people. And I remember when I was younger, I loved just being around people, and I still do. However, as I get older, I love being around myself and in understanding my story and understanding how my lived experience impacts the way that I show up. I often share on social media how the lack of representation in my teachers growing up made me grow up feeling less than. So I had to take time to unpack, like, how did my educational experience, what did it leave in me? And that's when I made that connection of lack of representation has made me believing that I am less than. And that's when I was able to shift that mindset and recognize that I didn't have teachers that look like me because of a lot of reasons, a lot of barriers that are put in the way of people that look like us being able to lead classrooms and lead buildings. And I was able to heal, and I was able to change my language to know that my community is enough. There are institutional efforts to keep certain people out of different places, and that allowed me to heal. And another piece too, I grew up in public housing, and I remember growing up in public housing, I felt a lot of shame. And then as I got older and bought my own properties, I realized that my parents worked really hard, and I am grateful to have lived in public housing because it provided a roof over my head, and it gave me the opportunity then. I love to heal out loud, and you don't have to do that, but I went on Google and found the Minneapolis Public Housing review page and left a review of just like reclaiming my narrative and acknowledging that because I grew up in public housing, that did not determine my outcome in life. And I know that there are many people that are probably experiencing feelings of less than, and it's important to remind those folks you will not lead your best until you're able to identify what's holding you back. And that does require you to spend time with yourself and to understand yourself and to love yourself and to practice that compassion and knowing shame is I am bad and guilt is I did something bad. And many of us, and that was true for me, moved through the world carrying a lot of shame. And that's not, we don't deserve that. We deserve to feel good. We deserve to feel abundance. We deserve to understand ourselves before we can understand others and lead buildings and lead communities.
Love it. I appreciate all of that. All of that. Thank you. Thank you. Let me go to Dr. Miller. You know, Doc, you have you've written a new book. You've added to your writing, and I'm gonna put it on the screen again. Lead with Love: 8 heart-centered strategies for exceptional leadership. And you honored me with the invitation to write the forward.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate that. And I'm gonna share something you wrote. I've never, I gotta tell you, Doc, I've never seen myself in anybody's acknowledgments. That's a first for me, right? And I've written a lot of endorsements, I've written a lot of forwards, but I've never, I read acknowledgments, and I've never seen myself. I'm gonna read this to the fam. To Principal Kafele for contributing to this body of work. I have a level of respect for you that you can't imagine. Your advocacy for both children, teachers, and leaders is fierce and fantastic. May you be protected and sourced by the source as you keep pushing, fighting, and advocating for peace, excellence, love, and liberty in this world of education. I'm honored by that. I really am. So when I was reading it, when I picked it up at the UPS store, I'm like, oh my man, I'm in the acknowledgement. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. That means, because going back to just this conversation, we all need that fuel, and that's fuel. That keeps me from permanently planting myself on the couch, right? I don't want to be permanently there. I just want to temporarily be there, and that's the fuel. So with that being said, and the book offers these powerful tools for bringing love into our work, homes, and cells. So with that being said, what do you mean when you say lead with love?
Well, first off, let me just, if you don't mind, I would like to just acknowledge, well, The Bible says to give honor where honor is due. And so you may have not been in anyone's acknowledgement, but I'm going to tell you that every time I hear your name, there is a esteemed acknowledgement of the service that you do in this space. So it needs to be in writing, because we all know as leaders, if it's not in writing, it didn't happen. However, I just want to encourage the fam here to continue to acknowledge and give honor to leaders who are doing this work, because it's not easy. And in the spirit of that, I want to acknowledge Dr. Hussein. Man, you said some powerful things. I got my pen, I got my paper, and I'm writing. And one of the things that I want to acknowledge, and I'm going to your question, Doc, about what I mean to lead with love. But one of the things that I want to acknowledge about Dr. Hussein is this notion of leading herself with love. When we are leaders, we are always we're withdrawn from, because we're in service. So we're giving and we're giving and we're helping and we're serving. But oftentimes we forget that we've got to be filled back in. We've got to feel ourselves so that we actually can give. And when we don't feel ourselves, specifically from our own selves, I heard her say, I had to prioritize me. I had to think about my safety, my needs, my space. And leaders miss that. We think that if we just keep giving, keep serving without doing that within ourselves, then we're gonna be the best leaders. But that actually is, I call it leadership malpractice. When we don't give into ourselves, when we don't serve ourselves, when we don't love ourselves, then we are unable to do that for the people that we are privileged to serve. So I just want to acknowledge the self-love that you have, because when leaders get that right, I believe that they become better leaders. They become better parents. They become better servants in this world. So please get that right. And so I'm taking this: exhaustion does not equal excellence.
Yeah.
I needed that, especially in the AP role. Listen, in the AP role, if y'all remember, those that have been APs or are being APs right now, exhaustion is it's just a part of what that space is, because you are the magic, you are the machine, you are who executes and actualizes vision. You are the glue. And I remember being so exhausted as an assistant principal, and it is a lot of work, but I wish I understood the difference between exhaustion and excellence in that time of my life. And so, to lead with love. And a lot of people hear this and think, oh, she means just kind of, this kumbaya, this, we're all friends and just gushy. But the truth is that love is a verb. Love is what we do. It's not what we say. It's not how we feel. I want you to think about it. Doc, you've been married how long? How long you been married to the Queen?
Oh, we're going on 37 in about a week or two.
37 years.
Yeah.
Now, see, if you know love in that for 37 years, it's not always about the feeling. A lot happens in relationship, and you don't always feel right love, but love is a decision. Love is a decision that you make every day. Love is the actions that you do to show love. And so when I say lead with love, first I need to make sure that I'm clear is that I believe that this work that we do in serving children, serving humans, serving communities, serving teachers is God's work, and God is love. And so love, to lead with love, means to show up with intentional actions. And in the book, I talk about these 8 specific ones: to show up, to decide, to serve, to decide, to consider the not the positioning, but the purpose in which you've been tasked with. And it means to do something, right? Geneva Gay talks about caring for someone and caring about someone, and there's a difference between the two. I care about the environment. However, I get in my SUV every day and I drive it, and I don't have a Tesla. I don't have one that is environmental friendly. But when you care for something, I care for my children. So every day I get up, every day I go to work, I feed them. They have to eat 3 times a day. They say. I ask them, why do they have to have three meals? But I feed them, I clothe them, I show up, and I sacrifice things. I do things to show love. And so leading with love is just deciding to show up to a space and do what it is that that people need. And so I could go on and on, but that's what I mean to lead with love. And love, y'all, love is the answer. Love is literally the answer to everything in the whole entire world, for every situation. Love is always gonna be the solution. And again, not the feeling, but love and leadership. Oh, leadership and love together. That's the magic for humanity today. Okay, let me stop because I'm getting excited, Doc.
No, that's good stuff. And I just had to block somebody. They were misusing the page, but we good. That's why I was looking away.
No,
Yeah. So, but I heard you, and that's good
love.
stuff. Good stuff. Let's stay together here. So the challenges, the obstacles, the pressures, the demands of leadership, as I typically say it, can cause somebody, not everybody, but somebody, to completely lose their love for leading, right? We see it. We've all seen it. We've seen it time and time again. Just the pressures of leading, the obstacles, demands, the challenges.
It's a lot.
I don't know if I want this anymore. This is not what I signed up for. My question to you, based on the work you do, can one's love of leading be restored? And if so, give us an example or two. And if not, why not?
Oh, that is a great question. Can one's love of leading be restored? I want to use the example. So I believe that first off, we are all leaders, but I'm going to use an example that I typically use with teachers. But I think the same is true in leadership. The work that we do is actually cyclical, right? So have you ever met those teachers and they go and they're teaching their little hearts out and they're exhausted, right? And from the beginning of the day, they can barely make it at the end. From the beginning to the end, they're doing all this giving, talking, teaching their little hearts out, but they're exhausted. And I used to tell my teachers, you're going to burn out. You're not gonna, this won't be sustainable for you, right? And they would be like, well, what am I supposed to do, right? What do I do? And I told them, when you understand and when you get to the place that as you are giving to children, their light, their energy, their learning, those bulbs, their thank yous, the spaces where they become better humans. When that begins to now fuel you, then you never get tired, because see, you don't just give to them. When you see the blessing and what they do giving to you, then that is what keeps you going for 40 years. The same in leadership, right? So if I am an assistant principal, and listen, a principal and assistant principal, when you're doing this work right, when it comes to observation, consistent feedback, analyzing data, instructional planning, culture, dismissal, arrival, lunches, community meetings. When you're doing all of that work, it's a lot of work. However, when you see a teacher, when you see your data and you see a teacher that was struggling, and then you see growth in those scholars, you see them, the learning expanding, you see parents coming back and wanting to support and volunteer because you've poured into them in a human way. When you see people wanting to give funds and supports to you, when you are able to see the fruits of what you're doing, then it helps you continue to keep doing this work. But when you see a teacher get better, when you see a kid come back and say, I couldn't have done this without you, because of you I'm doing XYZ, and I think that the universe knows when we need it. Right? It gives it to us right when we need it, to remind us that we are planting, that we are cultivating, that we are watering, that we are giving light to not just seeds that grow in the school, but that are going to grow in our community, that are growing in the world. So I think that once you are able to connect and see the purpose and the why, then it fuels you into doing this space. But I will say this: if you're showing up to this work and you're discouraged and you're not feeling it, and you don't want to do this work, be cautious of that, because that energy in that space can become toxic and you could do a disservice to the people that you're in charge of serving. So I would say that, both of those are super important. But if this is not what you want to do, if you're complaining and you're mad and you don't want to get up in the morning, then you need to keep that at home. Keep all of that energy at home, because children, staff, and communities do not need that. Stay at home in your bed.
I hear that. I got one more for you. You serve as assistant professor of educational leadership and policy analysis at the University of Houston, Clear Lake. On the educational leadership side, I'm going to leave the policy analysis for another time, but on the educational leadership side, what aspects of school leadership, if any, do you find give students the most anxiety? And what aspect of school leadership do you feel most consumed by as professor? So it's a little two-parter, but go ahead, the floor is yours.
Great question. I'm going to be honest. I think so. I get a chance to not just teach in leadership, but also support and coach new principals, right? And so I've got the aspiring leader and then the new leader. And so I'm always bringing them to your page, because I'm like, this is exactly where you don't need my course. You just need to go straight to the aspiring, the assistant principal and new principal page. But few things. So one of the things that I notice for aspiring leaders that they're struggling with, or that gives them anxiety, is the decision making is one. Not being confident in making decisions that are going to be impacting multiple stakeholders. That's definitely something that they have anxiety about. They also have anxiety about the safety of schools. Listen, that right there is a really, really challenging, it's a challenging concept, because, we can teach data, instruction, those things can be taught, but when you are the leader and you are responsible of keeping thousands sometimes of people safe, that's a lot of pressure. And it's a lot of uncertainty. And so that's one of the things that we talk a lot about. And so between the safety and then the very quick decision making that's necessary in the seat is one of those. Those are two things. And then what was the second part, Doc?
The as a professor, what consumes you? What's that area of what you teach that you feel that I've really got to spend a lot of time on?
Let me tell you what consumes me. What consumes me is the human part of this work. Theory and, like I said, the logistics of leadership, again, can be taught, but what can't be taught is people understanding that you are in the human business, and that people are showing up to your campus, to your schools, hurting, in having other human needs, having mental and emotional challenges. Like people are showing up as human. And if you don't consider those things, and that's what one of the things that my book really goes deep into is how do you lead at a level of excellence while being very human centered? That's the piece that you can't teach. And it breaks my heart when I'm teaching these aspiring leaders and, they're talking about getting the principalship and some of them are really excited about the parking space, and they're excited about the salary, and they're excited about all these things that in actuality they're going to hurt someone because what they're not communicating is being excited about the service, being excited about identifying needs, being excited about having a vision for people out, that is bigger than their campus. They're not excited about the right things. And so that's one of the things I try to spend a lot of time on as it relates to understanding their purpose, the purpose behind leadership versus the positionality around it.
Yeah, purpose beyond positionality. That's important. Good stuff. Tina, you've been waiting so long. Here we are.
It's been great. It's been great. I've been writing down notes. Thank you, ladies.
You saw Stallings acknowledge you, right? Okay.
I saw it. Hey, Dr. Stallings. That's right. That's my guy. That's my guy.
Hey, Tina, I met you years ago. Kevin Booker and I, we were a duo in Sojourner Truth Middle School. And one of the things that always stood out for me was that you were extremely friendly within the work you did, just in terms of your demeanor with us, right? And then I find out years later that you're an educator. And for me, just in terms of how I processed that, I always remembered your personality, right? So it made complete sense to me. So with that, talk to us about the drive and the determination to go from a human resources secretary to teacher and all the other things I read in your bio to assistant principal and then beyond, whatever beyond may be.
All right. So what happened was I was first in corporate America. And then a friend tapped me on the shoulder and said, you need to think about teaching. And so my first stop was, because sometimes I learn, I listen to a lot of people. I'm always listening to a lot of podcasts. And one thing I remember Les Brown saying is, sometimes people know who you are and what's in you before you know, right? Yes. So you've got to be open to people tapping you and thinking. I wasn't unhappy in corporate America, but I wasn't totally fulfilled either. So I had that part of me that was like, okay, let me try it out. So I stepped foot December 7th, 1998 in East Orange. And my personality blew the interviewer away. And at that time, the secretary was going into National Guard. And they asked me, can you be the secretary? And if you're my secretary, I know you came in here to teach. I will give you a job, but just be my secretary for 2 years until my secretary comes back. Once again, I lead from the inside out. So I knew that the universe was setting me up right. So I always go with my intuition. My intuition was, even though I came in there for a teaching job, I knew that God was positioning me for my path to lead me into that classroom. So what I teach people in my school and I teach my teachers is, you need to figure out who you are on the inside, because whatever's showing up on the outside is indicative of who you feel you are on the inside. So I feel like I'm a spiritually transformational leader. So I don't, even in my school, there's certain words you can't say, right? Certain words students can't say, because words are powerful and we're modeling every day. So we're on this journey, this educational runway every single day. So I lead from a place of passion. There's a lot I do behind the scenes, right? I do yoga, I do mantras. So I prepare myself every single day for this work at 5 o'clock in the morning before I even step outside. And I determine how I want to show up based on the things that I know ahead of time sometimes that are on my plate that I'm walking into. And then I prepare myself for the things that may be unknown, because we know that every day in education is a new day. right?
Yeah.
You never get this work down pat. You never get it right? So you have to be grounded and have a strong sense of who you are each and every day. And I prepare myself each and every day. Today, I ran out a little bit of time because I knew I had to get on at 10:40, right? And I said, I want my coffee. So I ran and got my coffee. I did not do my meditation as long, but I did it because I know, some people can't go without their coffee. Some people can't go without whatever they go. I can't go without meditation. I'm unbalanced. I'm imbalanced. So the work for me is my heart is in it. I love what I do. I love who I do it with. Right. And so I think that's the gel that keeps me growing and being happy in this profession 27 years later. So I say to people on this call who are aspiring APs, who are already APs, right? If it doesn't feel good, it's not good, but you got to go inside and figure out why it doesn't feel good, because everything that you attract to yourself started from you. So you can't blame anybody. Nobody owes you nothing. If you don't like that relationship that you have with your principal, or you don't like the relationship you have with your teacher, go in your office and sit and lock that door and figure out what have you been saying and doing to you? Because those people that you don't like, those comments that came to you, those people whose actions you don't like, started from you, and you exuded and let that energy out. And that's what you got back, because like attracts like. So if you don't like what you're doing, you don't like something within you. So please figure it out, because everything starts from you. Everything. So that's me.
Before I go to this next question,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let the fam know something that you don't even know. Well, no, actually you do know, but you don't know it to the extent that I'm going to express it now. You were on another podcast with Dr. Kwame, and I saw it. And at that moment, I reached out to you. Like the same day I watched the podcast, I said, I need that energy on this platform. And I called you because I'm always looking at stuff. And when I see, it's like, woo, I need Tina to bring that fire, man.
I'm always on fire.
I know. Yeah. But Tina, I got to ask you a question that's not on my paper.
Sure.
I'm going off script based on something you just said. Finding yourself. This, all three of you are probably going to want to jump in on this, but I'm throwing this to Tina for now. Right? Sometimes, one might say oftentimes, who we are is predicated upon who and what we're around, who and what we expose ourselves to. That may influence, inspire what we evolve into. So here's my philosophical question.
Got it.
As I'm searching for self, how do I find self divorced from the influences around me that I just find the inner me? Because make no mistake about it, Principal Kafele was deeply inspired by the pages of this book, To Kill a Black Man, the shocking parallels of the lives of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Before I read this, I had no idea where I was going.
Yep.
But I read this and it's like, ooh, this inspired me in a profound way. So what I'm asking, I know I'm on here lecturing too, but what I'm asking is, and it's just philosophical. How does one find self in isolation from all the stimuli around one? What's your thoughts?
So my thought is, and I'm a product of that, right? So who you see today was not who I was. I was always friendly, right? But I didn't always have that level of confidence. People used to dumb me down. I used to dummy down my personality for people, right? So that people could fit into my world. And I'm going to tell you what happened to me and what changed me at 22 years old. Someone asked me to speak for them, but there was another speaker that had gone before me. And they knew how I speak. They knew my energy. And they came over to me after that first speaker and said, can you change your speech a little bit? Because I don't want your speech to overpower this other person's speech. And I did it. And there is nothing like having to put your own self on punishment because you went against your better judgment. And I cried, and I remember my mom's my best friend, and I cried, and I remember calling my mom. It took me 2 months to get out of this funk. I was low because I didn't deliver a message that really was me. And even when they paid me the check, I almost felt like I needed to rip up the check because I got money for being fraudulent.
Woo!
So at 22, I remember on my knees, I called my mother, and I was hyperventilating. And I was like, I wasn't me. And I allowed them to tear me apart, right? So that somebody else who was delivering their message, they felt as though both of us couldn't be in the same room. And so they chose me to change. And from that moment on, I remember my friend said, get this book that said, it's called Be Your Own Best Friend. I kid you not. From 23, I started building me. I built me through writing, through crying, through being, you got to be honest. And I was honest. With I didn't like who I was. So like Les Brown says, when you get tired of getting sick and tired, right? When you get tired of feeling that pain, you're going to do something. If you are still in the room with people who don't make you feel good, you're not going to make the change until you get tired of not feeling good. So I say to that question, people will change, and it will change their environment when they decide. You picked up that book, Dr. Kafele, because something in you that changed, your subconscious said, let me go here right now. And from you picking up that book, then that led you on that path to where you were going, and hence where you are now. So I say there is nothing people need to do other than figure out if you want to stop feeling the pain. Once you stop wanting to feel the pain, things come to you. A book falls on the floor, or you go into ShopRite and you meet somebody. It takes the size of a mustard seed, right? Something that small. So I didn't become this Tina that I am overnight. It took something that hurt me so bad that I didn't even like myself. That hurt me so bad. I came out. I was like, who am I? Who am I? And I can't even remember the speech that I delivered because it wasn't even me. So when you get tired of feeling your own pain, you will make changes. And when you start making that little change, everything that's in your path that's already there will now tap you on the shoulder. Because let me tell you something. If you're around people who don't like themselves, the people who like themselves aren't going to even call you because you're not on the same frequency. So absolutely. Everybody that you see in you, around you, is exactly who you are. So there is never no blame game because the power lies within us. You are your masterpiece. Whether you are hanging around the drug dealer, the billionaire, the teacher, the vice principal, the clerk, nothing's neither good or bad. Everything is what you chose. And when you decide that you want to go into another room, you will when you make up your mind to do so. Yes! Nobody can do nothing. And once you make a slight change, then you will become the person that you are. And once you make that change and become the person that you are, you realize I've outgrown that shell too. I'm going to go to the shell. So you never get this done. But no one owes you nothing to you but you. Period.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Tina, see what that name, Dolores Cushney? That's my mother. She's 91. She said, I like that part.
Listen, I'm passionate. What Eric about to say, I'm sensitive and I'm passionate about my much. But now I learned at 53, if you don't like me, sorry for you. Because you're missing out on something magical. Right? So the bottom line is, and to everybody on this call, the bottom line is when you get up, and like Principal Dr. Kafele does at the end when he gets that mirror, if you don't like who's in the mirror, don't condemn yourself. Just make the change.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, because guess what? If you don't like you, Guess who's not going to like you? Your students, your parents, your teachers, right? So you're just attracting who you are. That's it. Use people. Let people be your mirror and say thank you. Because if you don't like what somebody said to you, thank them because they're showing you who you are. And just make a change. Like Michael said, got to make that change for once in your life.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. That's right. Man, I should have.
Can I jump in here? Oh.
Yeah, I should have brought y'all on separate.
Can I just say something to
because we ain't gonna get through this. I know that. So
Genesis, I mean genius, Jenious. Yes. First of all, your leadership is not just fire, it is inspiring. If listen, anybody that is listening to this that understands leadership, if something in you didn't, you know how in Elizabeth and Mary, the baby, if something jumped in her, baby, something just jumped in me. And I just want to say thank you for that. So in Lead with Love, Just Care is the acronym that talks about these actions. But the J starts us off just like the J in your name. The J starts us off with joy. Joy is finding who you are, your passion, your love, your why, and understanding that it all starts with you. And leaders hate when I say this, but I tell them, if something is thrown off, don't look at them. If children are thrown off, if community, if teachers are thrown off, you need to look at yourself as within, so without. Because everything that you think, you feel, you believe is exactly what's projected out in what you see. It's no one else's fault. And also, Kafele, Principal Kafele, you asked, how do you know yourselves? It's so wonderful because, that was so good. Jenious.
Thank you.
You asked, how do you know yourself? I had a doc student that was just like, I just don't know what to, where I'm going to go, or, and she's just kind of in this challenging space. And she asked me, how do I find out who I am? And she's 26 years old. And I was like, I'm 46. And I was like, I'm just now figuring this out at 46. But she asked me, and I had to sit in that because no one's ever actually asked that question. But if you are leading anybody, you got to know, because whoever you are, Brene Brown, this is my favorite quote, who you are is how you lead. Who you are is how you lead. And I remember, I'm not going to lie to you, I used to be a little petty. My petty boots was thigh highs. And I went into that school sometimes and made decisions from a petty space. And I remember one of my people said, Dr. Miller, be petty. And I had to put my mirror up. That's not what I want. I don't want to serve people like that. Well, Queinnise, fix you. You've got to fix you. But anyway, she asked me, she said, how do I know who I am? And as I thought about it, I sat back and I reflected. I said, you're going to have to give me a minute to get my thoughts together. And I said, well, here's what I think the formula is. This is what I do, and this is what I continue to do, because we have to understand that identifying and working on us it's a daily decision. It's a daily process. Like you, every morning, I don't care what is happening. I need to get into a space with Queinnise so that Queinnise can now go out and serve. So I gave her a few nuggets. This is what I told her. This is the formula I think that we do to get to know who we are, so that we can make sure that we are our best selves, so that we can lead in the best way. The first thing is ask people the raw truth about you. Get the people that you love, people that you know, ask for the raw truth of who you are, and don't respond. Just listen. Just take it in. Allow people that you respect, that you love, and that know you to put a mirror up for you so that you can understand who you are, because they will, if they tell you the truth, then it gives you opportunity and space to be able to analyze it and to work through it and to process it. You ain't got to agree with it, but if that's what they see on the outside, there's some truth there. So you need to be able to deal with it. The next thing is
hold on, Doc, hang on a second. I still got 2 more to go with Tina.
Oh, I'm so sorry. so sorry.
Oh, no, listen, we're in this together.
Let me get through those, and then but just hold that thought. Hold that thought.
I'm gonna hold it.
All right, Tina, we
Yes,
still got more.
Mm-hmm.
I told you off camera, I inserted a paragraph from your longer bio because I wanted to use it. Let me read it to the fam out there. As an assistant principal, I'm committed to nurturing the whole child by fostering a school culture where academic excellence, social, emotional wellness, and authentic relationships thrive. Strive to create safe, engaging, and empowering learning environments where students, staff, and families feel valued, inspired, and united in a shared mission of success. Now, when I read that, I thought about the countless assistant principals that I have met in the world, whether it be in person or virtually, whatever it is, who complain about being these full-time disciplinarians and other ancillary, non-instructional, non-human type of responsibilities, right? So that was why I read that, because I wrote my question as inquiring minds want to know. How is the aforementioned your reality versus being the full-time disciplinarian? How are you making that happen?
So I think the first year when I was forging a relationship with my principal, listen, I got a big personality. I love to work. And I think what happened was he was really, even though he chose me to lead beside him, in the summer, he wasn't there. So in the summer, I said, well, I don't know the staff yet, right? I don't know, what he wants me to do because he took his vacation in the summer. But I walked that school and I looked at the roster. And a couple people came in for the summer, right? For summer school. And I got in that mix. And when they needed me and they needed to rely on me, and they said that a kid scraped their knee or whatever, I got in, I immersed myself in it. So they didn't know who I was, but my actions, right, were showing them what I was about. Also, I said, well, I could do the behind the scenes work because I was doing that anyway as a data specialist. So let me check out their ASP. I finished their ASP. And when he walked in at the end of July, I handed him a finished ASP with all of our annual school plan goals ready for the next year. That and him, it took him, and I got to give a lot. I got to pay homage to my principal, Dr. Dion Roach. He told me to fly. And each year I flew. So each year I'm a very visible VP. So I'm outside, I'm in the classrooms. I can get like 25,000 steps a day. I'm in the hallways, I'm in the classrooms. I do, look at lunch. I will say I have a staff of 80 that are amazing. I mean, boots on the ground staff, right? Like can finish my sentence. I can say, hey, we got the door, Miss Flood, it's already done. The parents are in, whatever. I believe that I wanted to, and I remember telling my principal the first year, this place needs to be Grand Central Station. It's elementary school. We need to have multiple programs going on, right? So we started the Panther Academy because the parents, during we have virtual monthly meetings with the parents, and the year that they meet with us, we always promise them they will see the suggestions and they will see their voice that following year. So 23-24, the parents were saying, hey, I can't pick my kid up, so I'm picking my kid up early because I can't get there in time to pick them up. So I pick them up early so I can get to work. So out of that came the Panther Academy. So now we have a Panther Academy where kids go to learn an extension of a day, academic day, where teachers now can really, they continue to meet them where they are. But if you say you have a second grader who's on a first grade level, now they really go down doing Panther Academy to connect those dots. So those kids go to school until 4:45, 5 o'clock. That brought down our chronic absenteeism, right? So I think when you're new to a school, it's your obligation and your duty to show the school that you lead with integrity, that you're loyal, that you're trustworthy. But you also have to have a principal, right, who has a big personality like me that's not inferior. So I think sometimes these partnerships, we really got to be honest with ourselves and say, why are you pigeonholed in your AP to disciplinarianship in lunchroom. Yeah, check out the lunchroom, but there's more that you need than that. There's more. Why did you hire them? Why, right? So I think those relationships have to be, a conversation needs to be had, a real one. People talk about crucial conversations. Principal Roach and I have had a lot of crucial conversations. Now I'm 5 years in. So basically, like, he's on vacation now. I just run the school, right? And I let him know, you know, we keep in contact or whatever. I let him know what's going on throughout the day. But you have to have a level of trust. And sometimes we think because we have these positions that we know it's all, right? And when someone gives you a long rope, right? That doesn't mean that you go off the course. There's a mission, there's a vision, there's something that we're trying to stay on course here. And when there's structures in place, you have to ask yourself, where can I be of added value? You want to be an addition to your school and your principal, not a subtraction, right? So we meet, we talk all the time, right? I run things by him, and then sometimes he'll be like, I'll say, listen, we're gonna do this. He goes, listen, roll with it, run with it, do it, right? But that comes from him seeing the work that's already done. In my school, you see the teachers' voices, the students' voices, the parents' voices. Everybody has a voice in our school. We have Panther Academy, FSC, YMCA, the multilingual program. My school at 235 is like Grand Central Station. Everybody's going to their next place, their next space. So you want to make it something where it's a safe haven for students. You want to make it someplace where parents don't have to choose between work and having their students, miss out on academic, instruction. You also want to make it a place, and this is very important to myself and to my principal, is that we did not want anybody coming into our school teaching our kids after school, because our teachers know them best. So we have dedicated teachers who are invested in that extended time. And out of that, you see growth, not only just academically, right? But mentally, socially. You see families that can actually work and put food on the table because they don't have to work 20 hours less because they got to pick up a kid. So this is, when you're in a school, you are also fostering those lives inside those homes. Because if a parent has to make a choice, guess who's going to lose out? That kid, because that's easiest. That's free. It's free to take a kid out of school. Yeah. But it's not free to put food on the table. And how do you put food on the table? By going to work, right? So I think it starts with that relationship. And I want to say something to the APs. And Dr. Hussein touched upon this earlier. She said, you got to make sure the school's for you, right? When I interviewed for my position, I was very authentic in my interview because I wanted to make sure whoever chose me, they knew who they were getting. So when you're interviewing, don't fake the funk, because you're going to end up at a school where you're not going to get along with the principal because they thought they wanted you because you were passive and you were quiet at the interview. And I was just like this at the interview. And so when he chose me, I knew that was my school and I knew he wanted me. So that's why our relationship works.
That was a great point, because if you don't bring your authentic self to the interview, you brought an imposter. And that, like, as you just said, I'm just repeating what you said. Now that imposter is who you expect to see. And that was just the person that's trying to get a job, right?
Absolutely.
Now I'm stuck with the imposter, and I don't really like the imposter.
Exactly.
And the imposter don't like being here, right? So good stuff. I got one more for you that kind of ties into that. Give me your words of advice. Give an assistant principal out here who's watching right now, or the larger audience who will see the video later, who practically wants to vacate the assistant principalship because of discipline being an unwanted reality. What advice might you have for that person that they could live a different reality versus being a full-time disciplinarian?
Okay, so I would say to that person who wants to vacate, if you want to leave this principalship, leave the fact that you're doing the discipline. Because when you want to leave, there's something you're running from. And sometimes it has nothing to do with the position that you're in. So really write down in the journal, say it out loud, say whatever, right? But really figure out, what are you leaving? What are you leaving? Because sometimes it's not the position you're leaving, right? It could be and I know this from experience from talking to some, other people. It could be the marriage is falling apart because you're leading and you're coming home later. It could be you don't see the kids as often because, right? It could be, it could be really you don't like the school. You don't like, what are you really leaving? Figure out what you're really leaving and be honest. Because let me tell you this. One thing I learned in my life is just like when you have children, right? You have those genetics in you, right? Well, God gave us that too. So we have genetics of God in us, right? Which means anything that you want to see in your life, if you are tired of being that disciplinarian, guess what? If you put it in your mindset and you picture yourself and you picture your principal saying, listen, I need you to be more than that disciplinarian, right? It's your thought that counts, because you'll be surprised. You'll walk in some place and he'll be like, listen, I have such and such is going to work on my disciplinarian this week. I want you to do this. So it's the power of your mind that has you stuck in certain places. So I'm going to go back to saying, if whatever you don't like, you have to figure out what in you is causing this uncomfortable situation. What's causing this disconnect? I have never, and I have been in quasi AP, positions. I covered a school for a principal who was retiring. So, they were using their days. No one has ever, never, ever, ever come to me to say, can you take care of just discipline? Never. So you have to make sure you got to show up to grow up. So if you're coming in and you're not adding to a staff meeting, or you're not letting, people know what other things you have in you that are lying dormant, they may just put you on the shelf as a disciplinarian. It's all about trust. If people can't trust you, they're not going to move you. But if you can't trust you, you're forcing people not to trust you, and therefore you don't move. So you got to figure out, why are you in this position? Why are you the disciplinarian? What are you putting out there to make people think that they can just relegate you to be the disciplinarian? Are you standing in the hallway after school and not, dabbing the kids up? Are you standing in the hallway just standing here? Get home safe. Make sure you walk home. Make sure you, hey, if that's the way you're standing in the hallway, then go be the disciplinarian, right? Right? So, but are you standing in the hallway saying, hey, Tina, make sure you get home. Remember, mom said, you got to be, don't go walk to your friends to the corner store. Hey, Miss such and such, she had a great day today. Hey, Miss Flood, I love that. I love when I walked in your class, the kids were doing accountable talk, right? Hey, get home. Listen, go home early, because I know you got to do things with your husband. It's what you're putting out. It's what you're putting out and what you're getting back. No one's going to, they'd be a fool, but no one that I show up in their building is ever going to put me in discipline in just the lunchroom. No, they're not, because when you are leading from a place of pure intuition, nothing can block that. Yeah. So if you're just a disciplinarian, then are you mediocre? Are you mediocre in spirit? Right? Because let's be real. Are you mediocre in spirit? Do you show up on time? If school starts at 8, are you getting there at 7:43? And my school starts at 8. I'm there between 6:30, and when we do testing, I'm there at 6:30 in the morning. Now I got a great testing team. I don't have to do anything, nothing, but I want to be there. Because if I'm expecting those things from them, then they need to see those things in me. The school started at 8 and you coming in with your coffee real quick trying to get, but you're mad about the position that you're in. No, the first position that needs to be played is the position from within. Yeah. Once you play that position, then you'll start getting everything, and everything will start matching up. So I tell people all the time, and I'm going to go back to this. If you don't like where you are, figure out what you don't like within. Period.
Point blank. Drop the mic. Good stuff. Hey, y'all, I want to shift gears. And I entitled this session Women in School Leadership and So Much More. And I think we've been doing the so much more first. And I wanted to do a little round table now. I'm not going to ask any one of you to respond to a question. This not question, but scenarios. Anybody that feels, let me add my 2 cents to this. Jump in, and then if anybody wants to jump in after, then jump in on the same one, right? And I might even want to have something to say myself. So let me put the first one on the screen. I got 5 of these. I suspect this is all we're gonna get to today, but we'll bring you back for a part two of this conversation. That's not a problem. But let me get my screen right. Here we go. These are scenarios that just have come my way over time or recently, whatever it is. But first one, as a woman leader, I feel I have to work twice as hard as men to prove my leadership credibility. Even if you disagree with the statement, it doesn't matter. Just all I want you to do is respond to it. But let me say this to you real quick. I got 5 of these. I know y'all got a lot of stuff in you, a lot of information in you. So just keep that in mind so we can get all 5 of these in, and all 3 of you to respond to the ones you want to respond to. Anybody jump on in on that one. What's your thoughts?
So I want to say, go ahead, Dr. Hussein, because I talk last. So go ahead.
You're so kind. Thank you. And I loved everything that you said. The key, like that scenario is a scenario that is shared out loud, and words really matter. And when we repeat messages like this, we begin to internalize it. It's really important to ask ourselves why we feel that way and to unlearn that, because it is not true that you have to work twice as hard to prove your leadership credibility. Who are you proving it to? You have to be right within in order to do the job. Go ahead, Tina.
I concur. I was going to say, if this is what you're speaking, remember earlier I said words have power. So if you're speaking less than to yourself, there's always going to be a difference, right? In pay, a difference in, but if you are comparing yourself, you've already had 50% of hurt yourself in the position that you're in. So be mindful what you're saying to yourself and just show up and do, like Dr. Q says, lead with love. If you lead with love, none of this matters. Just lead with love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I concur. As within, so without. As a man thinketh, so is he. And so, if this is if this is how you show up to that space, then that is exactly what you will be always proving something that isn't even real.
So let me ask the question now, especially being a man and on the platform with 3 women. I understand, because the 3 of you said the same thing, and I understand that wholeheartedly. But what if I'm that woman and I'm finding that is my reality, that I really have to work twice as hard, that maybe you're looking for advancement and you see that the system is not fair, and you feel like you've got to go above and beyond, just to be recognized, just to be seen, in order to get the recognition that you deserve. What is your advice? What are your words of encouragement to that person that may be on here right now?
I don't know how to say this, but I think that those things can be real for people. I think what we were saying is we create our realities, but if for some it could potentially be a real thing for that person. I would go back to, again, asking them their why. Because when you're doing this work and you understand the magnitude of why you're doing it, that mindset takes me back to positionality. Life is not fair. They don't give you enough money for the work that we do, because this work is actually ministry. And so I can see corporate where those things have happened. I've seen it in education where someone, a man gets a certain amount of money for the same job. They negotiate. The woman tries. She doesn't get that. But I think it's really important that if we can't allow that to be a distraction of the bigger purpose and mission of serving children. Like that is the why we do this work. And so I would hate that for that to be a distraction of keeping someone from operating in their purpose and in serving.
Can I chime in real quick? It'll be real quick too.
No, you're good. You're good.
I will say to that too, to whoever this person is that Sometimes, and we always have to be mindful of this, sometimes your rejection is God's protection. And sometimes you have to go to grow. I applied to become an AP 5 times. So you have to, if it's really something that you want, right, then it's something that you go after. You can't start making excuses for why you don't get what you want. And in my district, I'm not making more than some people, but guess what I do? I speak on the side, right? Have multiple streams of income. You're more resilient than you think you are. But before I come up with an excuse, I'm going to find me a solution. So if I'm going into a place where I know that men make $20,000 more than me, I'm going to have me something on the side anyway to make up that deficit, if that's what I want. But we don't have time for excuses. It keeps us stuck. So get unstuck. And sometimes people have to go to grow. I left the district and then accepted this position in Plainfield.
Anybody else?
I just want to acknowledge that there are men and maybe women too who are insecure, and they lead from a place of like wanting to have women leaders be exhausted. So as a woman leader, you have to understand that the environment that you're in may not be for you, and to not allow this energy to become you. There are people that do really believe strongly that we have to work twice as hard to prove our humanity and our awesomeness. And you have to be aware of that so you don't begin to act from that place of scarcity, that place of deficit. And I did share in the Facebook chat, there is a term called strategic authenticity. The system is not fair. I love the way in which both of our sisters are just amazing and they're who they are. And sometimes we do have to be strategically authentic and not share all of who we are to get the opportunity that will give us access to other opportunities. So I do believe in being authentic, and not everyone has earned the right to know who you are. And that's a Brene Brown quote too. Like, not everybody gets to see all of me. I get to decide how much I share of myself, because it's an honor to know all of me.
I love it. Let me go to this next one. As a woman leader, I feel I'm being judged differently for assertiveness and decisiveness. And you know, particularly this one could say as a Black woman leader, right? I feel I'm being judged differently for assertiveness and decisiveness. Any thoughts?
I would love this. So one of the things, I have a mentee, and she's my technology teacher, and she's getting her principal cert is coming soon. And one thing I did tell her, as a Black woman, you already know people are looking at what you say and what you do differently. And this is why I tell people, plan your day. You must plan. We have to plan. There's a lot of planning and preparation. If you have a meeting with a parent, right, on that Monday, that Sunday, you need to plan, because you are always on candid camera. And we're never going to do away with that, never. But you have to plan, and you have to plan out what you're going to say, how you're going to say it. And that's why I'm going to go back to words are powerful, right? We know what we know. We know that we're standing up as a Black woman, right? And people judge us for every little thing. People judge us. Maybe I don't have the hair on my head. They judge us, right? They want to speculate what your lifestyle can be like and things like that. You know that. So plan and show up strong and show up right? And let people know that, yes, this is my educational house. I'm not ruling your house. You can't rule my house. You got to stand. And one thing people will know, because parents talk and the community talks, right, is that when you go back outside and talk about the solution that Ms. Flood gave, they're going to know it's equitable. It's equitable. So as long as you stand up and you lead with integrity, consistency, they go and translate that back to the community. So when people start coming to you, whether you're a Black woman that they don't even like, they're going to show up respectfully, right? And you'll find those solutions. So sometimes I say to myself, and I say to my team, enough with all that. I don't have time to worry about it, because there's so many different daggers coming at you that you got to show up, and you got to show up right. And showing up helps you grow up. So do you want to continue to grow up or not?
Love Love it. Love it. Love it.
I want to say something about that. So first of all, I love being a Black woman. Me and Genius, Genois. I don't know which one I want to call you, Genois or Genius. I think both. Genius. We're talking off camera, talking about how we love being a Black woman and how if we could come back, if we died and came back, we would want to come back again as a Black woman. But I believe, and this is just Dr. Q, this is a Dr. Qism, okay, that Black women, we are the carriers of creation, right? We were the carriers of creation. I want that to just sit with that a little bit. And because of that, I believe that we definitely have a power. We have a power and a presence that's very different and very unique to any other creation on the planet. Okay, the Black woman. And with that power, as in all power, comes a level of responsibility. And because of the power, because of the responsibility, I think it is important that we are mindful of how we show up, because we have something very, very important to share and people want to hear it. However, over time and over years, our presence and power has been adulterated to make it seem as if we are doing too much, or we are angry, or we are all these things, to kind of negate what it is that I believe that we are purposed to share. And so, what does that mean? In leadership, it is critical that we understand that there's two things that are the death of leadership. And we need people to hear us. We need to have the influence. We need to be able to move and to transform organizations and environments. So we have to be strategic in our authenticity. But there's two things that I believe are the death of leadership. And those two things are emotions and ego. Emotions and ego, which is really interesting because it's like a two-edged sword. It is our ego and the ambition and the drive that sometimes gets us in the seats where we have the power and influence. It's our emotions, the passion, the love, the that drives us in the work that we do. However, when those two things go unchecked and unmastered, they can completely do the opposite of what it is that we're trying to do. And so we have to be able to master that emotion and that ego, specifically as women, that emotion piece, because we are naturally made that way, right? But we have to be able to master it so that our assertiveness, our decisiveness, and those things don't come off in a way that that allows people to adulterate the messaging of our hearts.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We ready to move on? Let me go to this next one. As a woman leader, I feel a sense of guilt associated with the amount of time I spend away from my family. What do you think? Anybody jump on in?
I'm going to be vulnerable here. I've been in school leadership. I did school leadership for about 10 years, and I was married, 2 kids. And I remember one time, I think this was in my director role, and I'm there till like 10 o'clock at night or something. And the superintendent secretary was there. And I remember going up there, turning something in. And she says, "Why are you here? Why are you not at home with that baby?" I just had a baby and all that. And she said, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "Oh, because this work is my ministry." And, I'm explaining why I'm staying there till 10 o'clock at night. And she said to me, "Your first ministry is your family. And then this," and she says, that if you're not taking care of that ministry, then this no longer is ministry for you. And it really made me think through that, because I remember working so hard in a space in leadership and in this work that I believed that that because of the work that I was doing, then when it came down to it, they were going to have my back. And that wasn't true for me. I remember some financial things happened. I ended up getting rifted, and no one was like, we got to make sure we take care of Dr. Q, but my family was there. My family was right there with me. And it was really a eye-opening space for me when I thought, wait a minute, yes, this work is important. This is ministry. And I used to be like, I'm not willing to sacrifice my family for the work or the work for my family. But as I matured and understood that you've got to be able to balance that appropriately, because you do have a lot of, especially moms, just a lot of guilt. I wasn't able to take my child to school. I never saw my children go to school. I was always at school on the first day of school with other people's babies, welcoming them. And so for the first time in years, I was able to take my own child when I became a professor to school. And I was like, wow, how have I never seen or experienced this before? And so it's a very, very difficult space, especially when you're called to do this work. And so like, as you mature as a leader, I think it's important that you balance. And sometimes it's okay to say no to what you're doing at work. It's okay to go and to take off and to take care of yourself or to take care of your family. And so, yes, it is guilt, but learn to balance and know that it's okay to say no and to prioritize your family, because again, that pours into you. And as you pour into you, as you feel you, as you take care of your needs, then you will naturally then project that out and be able to better serve and show up for those that you lead and at the school.
So I'm a little bit different. What I did, my story is a little bit different. What I decided to do is I received my principal cert in December 2011. But my youngest son, my 17-year-old, was 3. And I coached soccer and things like that. So I held it in my back pocket because I wanted to have my cake and eat it too. So I was still in the classroom, and I still was 10 months, and I would get those summers. So I held my certificate, but I did put on my vision board when he stepped foot into the 9th grade that I was going to become in AP, and that's what I did. So I didn't feel the guilt that I know some people do feel. I will tell you what I do, because I've learned from other people and observed other people and other principals ahead of time. I send my team home. We go home early. So on Fridays, we don't have any after school programs. On Mondays and Fridays, we don't have any after school programs after May 14th. So I tell them, let's go. It's 5 o'clock. Let's go. Right. However, I've also learned that they're at a different journey in their lives too. So they know my calendar, and they know Miss Flood is leaving on Friday. That's Friday. I'm going to do things with my son or whatever. And I also tell my staff when they come to me, I tell them, they say, oh, my son's graduating on such and such a date. I need to take off. And I tell them, take off, because when my son graduates, guess what I'm doing? I'm taking off. So I also teach my staff to honor their families. I am not that leader that's telling you, if you're not in school all day, you're not a great leader. No, I go in those classrooms. I know they're great leaders. They want to be great leaders. And when they're not great leaders, I'll pull them in and let them know, like, okay, you're doing it too much. You're doing too much of this, not too much of that. You're slipping a little bit. Let's get back in alignment. So I didn't really feel the guilt. I do leave, and if I do have something to do, I go. But like I said, I have my principal cert since 2011, and I purposely did that because I had already observed people having to pick and choose, and I didn't want to do that. I don't do good with that. I know me. I don't do good when I have to pick and choose. I like to have it all. So I waited for mine.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Anything else? Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to add, I have the privilege of having my 2 babies at the school that I lead. So I get to be mom and principal mom. And I'm very fortunate to have a partner, a husband who is hands-on, who understands my ambition and my dreams. When I succeed, he succeeds as well. So it's really important to connect with your family and make sure that your family support you and see you and understand the work and what the work entails. And as I mentioned before, exhaustion is not excellence. So I really do believe as women leaders, we feel that we have to spend so many hours at work and that we have to do everything. There is power in delegating. There is power in modeling to staff to take care of themselves. At Gideon Pond Elementary, I am really clear with my staff that they are human first. I recently had my school secretary resign and accept a different job. And in the note that she left me, she said, Salma, I will always remember that from your leadership, like we are all human first before our position. So I love just letting folks know, take care of you and I will take care of me. And I am human. Once I leave work, I leave work. You'll see me maybe on social media doing outfit of the day because that's what I want to do. And for them to also exercise their humanity and their passions and to manage their time, because we all have the same 24 hours in a day, and how we use that 24 hours depends on what we value and the choices we make.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I say one more thing about that too? So, to the new APs out there too, keep a journal, keep a professional journal. Kind of write down some of the things you do during your day, because sometimes, we feel guilty because we didn't think we accomplished what we wanted to accomplish because the day, got away from us. But I will tell you that, let me caution you this too. Be very honest, because if you're sitting in your office the majority of the day and you feel guilt, you should. You got to get out there. You got to know what's going on in your school. Nobody should know more about your school than you, and you got to get out that office. But keep a professional journal and just journal some of those things and reflect on that day. And I think that would minimize the guilt, because you'll see all the things you did. We're so busy doing that we don't, the day gets away from us. So come back at the end of the day and reflect and write down what you did. And I think that would minimize the guilt. So and don't let anybody guilt you into it either, because I did have a superintendent tell me, hey, I thought you were ambitious when you're moving on, right? And I had to let him know I am ambitious. And ambition means going after what you want. And in this moment in time, what I want is to be present for my son. But I tell you, sir, when I get finished doing that and completing that mission, I'll be knocking on your door for that position.
Absolutely. And one more thing, I promise it'll be quick. Going back to what Dr. Hussein said, listen, to APs and principals, if you are the system, there is no system. And so it's really important to understand, like, this capacity building is so critical, because it doesn't just build leaders and build and give empowerment and build agency within the organization, but it also helps you on the other end of you being able to walk away without the guilt of walking away, right? Because you're not the system, right? And so that's really critical to ensure that you're balancing that space.
That is powerful. If you got to be in your school for your school to be led, something's wrong. You should be able to leave your school, and your school, I can leave my school, and it will run. They don't even need me. I'm really getting paid to have fun. They don't need me. And
absolutely.
That was awesome, Dr. Q.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yes.
I love it. Got two more here. As a woman leader, there are times when I feel completely isolated. I could add, as a Black woman leader, there are times when I feel completely isolated. The floor is yours.
As a leader, period, because leadership is lonely. Leadership is lonely when you're doing it right. However, I would just say here, it's so critical to get a network of leaders. If you're a principal, you need some principal friends, AP friends. You need people that are doing the work that you are doing. Black women principals, baby, we were on the text. Do you hear me? Because there's just certain things that we needed to say. There's certain things that we needed to express. There's certain things, situations, right? And so make sure you have those networks of people that are doing the work that you're doing, and someone that is doing better than you're doing that can mentor you and be honest with you again in that space. In addition to that, I want to say, oh darn it, it just went away. It'll come back. That's my perimenopause brain, y'all. It'll come back. I'll leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there.
I know the feeling, unfortunately.
I'm gonna piggyback off of Dr. Q and say, make sure you have a good cohort, or make sure add to that a therapist. Right, I have a shaman I talk to. Get someone. So I talk to my shaman because there's some things I really want to say about my district that I really want to say to my coach. You know, you never know. You know what I mean? I don't want to trust human beings with my deepest, darkest secrets, right? Yeah. So sometimes you want to get that person that you can really talk stuff about your district, because we all got some stuff to talk about, right? And get it off your chest and then get back in alignment. So have that cohort and have that person, that one person or maybe two people that you can talk to, whether it be a therapist, whether it be a shaman, whether it be whatever, right? That you can talk to so you could be real. Because in order for me to heal, I got to be real. And I'm not going to be real with my coworkers because I don't want to put that burden on them to keep my secret. So I talk to my shaman about what I don't like about certain things, curriculum and things like that. So have you a person you can talk to and vent to, and then get back in alignment and stand up and lead again.
With that one, and I just want to do this real quick because the last one ties directly to what you just said, Tina. Let me just throw it up there, and we can stay with the two of them. It says, as a woman leader, I feel that safe spaces to have honest discussions on leadership stress are limited, right? So which ties right there, because someone, and of course a lot of these could apply to a man as well, but I wanted to focus on women. But yeah, there may not be that one, particularly within a district, that you feel I can really express what I'm dealing with, right? Because you don't know where that conversation might be a year from now, right? As you were saying, that may be someone you felt you could trust in the moment, but now that may be your competitor, somewhere down the line, or even your enemy, whatever it is. Any thoughts on that one though?
I have a go ahead, Dr.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
I 1000%. I'm so glad that you're surfacing this for leaders, because your supervisor is not necessarily the person. Especially when you're thinking about school districts, because when the people that are over principals and over APs, there's another district level agenda, and they have a role and a job to make sure that they're managing what's happening at the campus level. And so one of the things that I do is I'm a leadership coach, and I tell my clients all the time, I'm your person. I'm the person that you need to be your thought person. Why? Because I'm concerned with the human that's leading. And that is not true in all spaces, especially your supervisor, if they're in a supervisor space, even sometimes district mentors. I say this right here because you just never know when it's safe for you to be a human that leads. And so my mantra is that human leaders need love too, and you need safe space where someone again is going to be authentic with you, going to be honest with you, that will push you, that will question you, but that will also provide safe space for you to just not be okay. For you to not be okay, because this work is difficult. It is very hard. It's taxing emotionally, spiritually, physically. And you need a space to break down. You need a space to cuss and fuss and those things. And that needs to be a very, very intentional person. And so I like to tell my clients, I say, I'm your person. I am your person. And I create this space where they can be heard, where they can, they can mess up, right? And it's safe for them to make mistakes, where they can say, I don't know, because we don't know all the answers as leaders. We don't know. We always don't know how to respond or how to handle situations. And we also sometimes allow our biases, our immaturity, our emotional intelligence and inintelligence to sometimes they drive the decisions that we make. So you need someone that will listen, but you also need someone that will hold you accountable with love, and support and feeling you, so that you can better lead. I'm so glad you surfaced that, because it's so important.
I was going to add, and my driving force and reason for not discussing, too much of my deep, dark feelings, not dark, but deep feelings with people who are close to me, is because I want them to remain effective. when you're a strong leader, when you say certain things to your people, they become affected, right? So they're like, oh, shoot. You know what I mean? If Flood is feeling low, and you know, like what's going to happen, right? And they start making other decisions. Like, if she's not here next year, I'm gonna leave. If she's not right, so I'm always strategic in what I say and how I say it, because I don't want to affect their livelihood either, because they're having a ball. And just in that one moment in time when I'm feeling kind of crappy, I don't want to mess up my culture and climate. So you're always one word, one sentence from jacking up your culture and climate. So that's why I think it's important to have people outside of your education environment, because you get the help you need, you get to vent, but you're not stripping the fabric that you work so hard to weave in your building. So I keep a lot of we talk about school and things like that. I think the deepest I really go with them is like, they talk about the curriculum and things like that, because, I'm very honest about the curriculum. But when it comes to other layers of things, I do not discuss it with my team. I probably could, because they're a great group of women and men, but I won't, because I know how they feel about me. And that one thing, that one word I say, they may start thinking, she might be, maybe she's thinking about transitioning out. So now their work ethic changes based on some of the things that I say. So that's the purview from what I, think about as far as being so, so open and honest. So that is one time in my life where I'm not that authentic, because I want to keep my culture and climate intact. So most of the people that I talk to, they retired. They're out of there. So I can say everything. It's open sesame.
but you know what? I will say this. It is unfortunate that we even have to ask this question, because the truth is, principals and leaders should create safe spaces for people to be authentic and honest about what's happening. That it should be that, right? And so I want to encourage specifically principals and principal supervisors, but that's not who this audience is, but specifically principals, to try to intentionally do that, because humans need a safe space to be in a consistent space, to be able to be human, but also to love, teach, and lead others. Sorry, Dr. Hussein, let me let you get in there.
Yes, I appreciate all of you, and I love everything that has been said. And at the core of these two scenarios is you have to, again, love yourself and lead yourself through love. And when you do that, you're able to attract good energy. The field of education, just the world, really creates competition if you're not right within. And for me, I don't see anyone as my competitor. I see people for who they are. And when I'm applying for an opportunity, I share that opportunity. And if it's meant to be, it'll be. So when you're grounded in who you are and you're grounded in self-worth and self-love, you're able to attract that type of energy and hold space for other people's experiences. And for the leaders that are listening, and everyone is a leader, it's important that when you're having those honest, brave conversations, that you don't make them about people, but you make them about actions, right? Like this particular decision or action that was, made has this impact. And for me, my go-to people are my sisters in leadership, as well as my husband, who is such a good listener and not in education. And I have my sister who I know loves and cares for me and is able to hold space and strategize with me. So you don't have to look far to find people who love you and want what's best for you and know you, and who will hold your experiences and not use those experiences to mean there's something wrong with you. And in leadership, vulnerability, especially for Black women and Black men, is not seen as a strength. Vulnerability is seen as a weakness. So we have to be strategic with who we are vulnerable with, because not everybody will see vulnerability as a superpower or what makes us beautiful.
Yeah. Someone put something in the chat that it says that, I think it's it's our Jaguar. Yeah, it's I knew this is Tovar. Yeah. That you also need to find time alone to do physical activity, find a baseline and have that you space. That is, listen, your morning routine, whether you do it in the morning or the afternoon or the evening, you have to create that space within yourself, that space of peace, that space of reflection, that space of groundingness, because you can't do this work without it. You will crash and burn every single time, and you can't love yourself if you don't know yourself, if you don't spend time with yourself. One of my favorite prayers is says that God, like, search my heart, know my anxious thoughts. Like, spending time in that space to work through those things will allow you to not feel so isolated, because isolation, it depicts the space of that we are away from something. But when we are grounded within, when we are secure within ourselves, and I say this too because when you have an insecure leader, that is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous space to be in. And so, but that security, again, starts within you. And when that is true, then there is no isolation, because you recognize that the power and the source is within you, and nothing outside of you can or will impact the work that God has put you here to do.
Yeah. You know, and if I can throw my 2 cents as we pretty much close it out, that alone time, you know, it's as the three of you know, I you know, the heart attacks, I do a lot of cardio work, walking, running, that type of thing. And I'll listen to podcasts, right? So whether it be the treadmill or just walking outside, I'll listen to podcasts. But at some point it hit me. I said, if it's when I'm home, when I'm watching TV or whatever the stimuli is, if I'm talking to my wife, right? When is there a time when I don't have the stimuli coming in? So I said, I can't listen to the podcast all the time when I'm walking. I said, leave the headphones here. And that way I can listen to what God has to say to me. Because it's always, I got to have something coming in. And when do I hear him? Right? Or when do I just get in control of my own thinking, my own thoughts? When do I process things if I'm always trying to have something coming in from external sources, right? So that alone, that downtime, but down and alone is important, right? And sometimes we take that for granted. Particularly, sometimes we don't want to. We don't want to be alone, right? We don't want to be lonely. We want somebody, something. But sometimes you just gotta find that corner and just sit there and listen to what God has to say to you, right? And sometimes I find that that's my most creative time, when I unplug and disconnect, right? And then, okay. Like you've heard me say, I got this big announcement coming on June 6th. That was one of those moments. Like I disconnected and I said, I need to do this, right? So now I'm teasing it, but I got something big I'm getting ready to do starting in the fall, but we're going to announce it June 6th. But that came from me not talking to anybody, not listening to anybody, just being in isolation. And I said, I need that, right?
Yeah.
Stay tuned. But check it out. We just came. We have so much more to go, but we ain't gonna do it. We're gonna reschedule for another day. All them talking points. But normally I would do my rapid fire here, but 2 of you have done those, so I'm gonna just throw 20 questions at Tina right quick, and we're gonna go rapid fire. One sentence or phrase or word. A comma means you went too long, right? So let me just clear the screen right quick. There we go. All right, so here we go, Tina. Do you feel that education is currently on the right path for underserved children?
No.
Do you feel that true equity can occur in America's schools for Black, brown, and other underserved students?
Yes.
Does Tina Flood's work contribute to the progress we desperately need?
Absolutely.
If you could do a reset on your life, would your line of work be different or the same?
Absolutely not. It'd be the same.
Why do you continue to do this work?
Because I'm a masterpiece who's trying to masterpiece. PACE.
I like that. What fires you up within the work you do?
Children.
What do you dislike about the work you do?
Politics.
What has been your greatest victory in the work you do?
Seeing teachers grow beyond my school.
What was your greatest mistake in the work you do?
Talking too much.
What has been your greatest challenge in the work you do?
Solving problems.
Are you proud of your first year as an assistant principal?
Absolutely.
Who inspires you in your work?
I'm gonna say my family because I can name my family.
What book do you recommend for the fam out there this afternoon?
Stillness is Key by Ryan Holiday.
What do you want to accomplish that you have not accomplished yet?
Become superintendent.
Ooh. Are you satisfied with where you are professionally?
I'm never satisfied, always growing and always want to know.
Is there another gear to your leadership, or are you at peak performance?
There's another gear.
What would you say to an assistant principal out there who continues to face closed doors to the principalship?
Sit still and navigate the journey back to your most authentic self.
What would you say to a leader out there who's lost their leadership passion?
The answer lies within you.
What would you say to a leader out there who's lost their leadership confidence?
It's not over yet. Get within.
If Tina, Jenious flood was a word in the dictionary, what would be your definition?
Masterpiece, Piece. You are a masterpiece, and you're always going to continue to master your piece. Peace. Be well.
I love it. I love it. Let me be the first to applaud you and all three of you. Great job. Great job. To the fam out there, you know how we do this, and I see you been started. But if today's session resonated with you, if it was good to you, if you liked it, if you enjoyed it, if it was useful, if you could utilize what you heard, if you could infuse some of what you heard, if not all of what you heard, into your practice as a leader, give us your favorite emojis, y'all. Keep them coming, keep them coming. I see you already started, but keep them coming, keep them coming. That's the way we applaud our guest on the platform as I get my Louisville slugger out, and that's symbolizing my emoji. Y'all hit it out the park every time you came to the plate, man. I hope the Knicks bring the same energy you brought today, and we're gonna be up 3-0 tonight, right? So that's all we need. They bring what you brought, we in good shape. And some, I mean, Dr. Hussein, I don't know if you keep up with basketball or not, but the Timberwolves fizzled. Real disappointing what they did, but it is what it is, right? But let me hear from y'all. Let us know how we can get in touch with you, how we can book you, because all of y'all are speakers, presenters, the author. We got the book here, but we'll talk more about it. I'll let you do that. So let's start off with Dr. Q.
Well, thank you so much again for the honor of being here for the second time. Hopefully I will see you again pretty soon so we can kind of go deeper into the book.
No doubt.
But you can reach me, everybody can reach me at Queinnise.com. It's my name and my brand. And so I'll put it in the chat, Queinnise.com. Definitely you can find the book on Amazon, and the Audible of the book is coming soon. Please, everyone, lead with love. Know who you are, love yourself, and love big, because love is the answer. Thank you again, and may everyone be blessed.
And again, you can go right to Amazon and get yourself a copy, y'all. Brand new, it's hot off the press. It's still hot. It's burning my hand. I gotta switch up. It's real hot, y'all. Right? Dr. Hussein, same thing.
Yes, you can find me at drsalmaspeaks.com. I intentionally chose that name, Speaks, because originally I was very introverted. I didn't really speak, but now I am in a place in my life where I know who I am, and I know that my voice matters, and I feel inspired to support others in finding their voice too. So thank you so much, Principal Kafele, for inviting me on your platform, and I can't wait to hear the big announcement.
Yeah. And to the fam out there, Salma Hussein, Dr. Salma Hussein is on Facebook as Salma Hussein. She does a lot of good videos, a lot of great content out there. So just go to her page and check out some of them videos. They're real. So this the short ones. Tina Flood.
All right, so I'm the proud principal of Emerson Elementary School, vice principal, elementary, Emerson.
Yeah, I was like,
wait. Maybe the universe is speaking something to existence. Who knows, right?
Right.
I can be reached at Tina, my name, Tina Jenious at gmail.com. And I want to say to all the current and aspiring administrators out there, look within yourself. How you feel right now in this present moment is indicative of how you feel, but that moment can change. We are always the master of our own destiny. So take the time, have fun, and master your destiny and everything else that you want, that you can even think and you believe you can achieve. But remember, the power lies within you. No one else can take that from you.
Love it. And my man Josh Tovar, he goes by MPA Jaguars. He's saying, come on my podcast. So he's probably talking to all three of you. So I'm sure he'll be in touch, right? He's on Sundays. Hey, y'all, let me just close this out by saying I appreciate y'all. I really do. This was a great session. As I say to everybody, the majority of the people who will watch this haven't seen it yet because most of our views are recording, not the live. So so a lot of folks are going to be seeing this, and then I'll be putting up reels as well. But great stuff. Appreciate you. Let me close this out, but y'all stay there so I can holler at you off mic before you leave. So to the fam out there, appreciate you being here. You know I say that every week. To the recorded folks and the live folks. So appreciate you spending week 317 consecutively with us this Saturday. Next week, I got my guy. He's a principal. He's been on before, but it's been years. He's a principal at Lincoln High School here in Jersey City. His name is Principal Chris Gadsden, and he wrote this book that I wrote the foreword for. It's called Principal Politics 101. Again, Principal Politics 101, subtitled Mastering the Politics of School Leadership. The book is really thick. It's sitting over there. I'm looking at it. So I decided we better go one-on-one on this one because this is good. This is going to be a hot topic, right? Principal Politics 101. I haven't read the whole book yet, so I'm not even sure what's in it or what we're going to talk about, but it might be something you want to see, want to be a part of. Mastering the Politics of School Leadership. Let me say this to y'all before you leave, to the fam out there. My first day as a principal, a principal approached me. First day. Matter of fact, you know Steve Cowan, Tina, Dr. Cowan. He approached me my very first day as a principal, and he said to me, Kafele, you're going to have to learn the politics of education. I was like, oh, and that was like something new to me that he said that, and I never forgot it, right? The politics of school leadership in this case. So y'all join us next week for 318 at 11 o'clock. But before you get to me, 10 o'clock, Sean Hurt. These are all Facebook Lives as always. 10 o'clock, Sean Hurt, followed by Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor. Again at 10:30. And then the AP New Principals Academy hosted by myself. And that'll be with Chris Gaston at 11 o'clock. And then Sunday, PGP podcast with Josh Tovar and Dr. Madi Moreno. Sundays at 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 Central. Join them. Once again, get yourself a copy of this. Right? Get yourself a copy. Lead with Love. And Dr. Miller will actually be back with 2 other authors in August. So we'll break a lot more of this down at that time. Make sure that you get these 2 books, y'all. What is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise and the assistant principal 50? Y'all know I got more, but these are the 2 that support this particular platform for sure. Again, the conferences. Make sure you join me either at ASCD ISTE ASCD, June 28th and June 29th. You can go to ascd.org for the conference. School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele, July 9 and 10 in Savannah, Georgia. Go to principalkafele.com, scroll down to the homepage, and you'll see the link to register. NAESP, National Association of Elementary School Principals, July 13th through 15th. I'll be there the 14th for 2 sessions, naesp.org. And then SREB, Southern Regional Educational Board, I'll be there the 15th, the very next day, Nashville, Tennessee, 2 sessions. Come on and join me at one of those, if not all. Subscribe to the AP New Principals Academy. and make sure that you hit the notification bell as well. Visit PrincipalKafele.com for additional resources. And finally, as always, your diet. Make sure you're taking care of yourself right. You know, the Eastern Conference, Western Conference games are on, so I know I've been cheating a little on chips, man. And quite frankly, them games are late, and I'm dozing off. Them chips keep me awake, man. So so I'm admitting that, but I'm not going overboard on it. Your exercise, get it in. It's raining today, so I got an excuse. I ain't doing nothing, and I will do it tomorrow. And then your virus precautions, man. Take care of yourselves, man. Y'all know it's a lot going out here. I'm not even going to get into it. You've been following the news. You know it's a lot going on out here. So you got to make sure that you're taking whatever precautions you got to take in order for us to be healthy, to be safe, to be alive, right? It matters. Other than that, y'all, I see you. Well, have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. How we do it? Peace. Flip it. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist back. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I see y'all next Saturday, man. Y'all have a safe week. Have a great week.
Love you, Dr. Hussein, Dr. Q. Appreciate you.